All right, this is the reintroduction of the Beautiful Minds podcast to the world. So, this is my very first podcast of 2018. This comes after a long hiatus, and it wasn't anything as if we were, what's the word? We ended it, or I decided to stop doing the Beautiful Minds. No, towards the end of 2017, I decided that things weren't going in the right way. So let me scale it back a little bit. My name is Marlon Dundas, your host of the Beautiful Minds podcast. The Beautiful Minds podcast is a audio edition of the Beautiful Minds platform where we seek to highlight initiatives of change. Today is the anniversary of the Beautiful Minds first blog post. And it's been a wild ride in between then and now. Now I sit here today. Was it like 45 blogs in, 25 episodes on the podcast, and countless amazing people I've met in between now and then. Then and now, and a whole new plan to move forward. So, this podcast is kind of just a recollection, just revisiting what 2017 was, what it meant for me, and what it meant for the website, the platform, and what I've learned and how we can move forward in 2018, how I want to move forward in 2018. So this started as a great idea, the Beautiful Minds, based off of, honestly, the election of Trump. And it was not to say I was looking to denigrate or to like talk down on our sitting president. It was because I realized that there's a growing need for people to be open and honest with each other, because we're all trying to get the same things done. We're all trying to seek happiness. We're all trying to live fruitful, eventful lives that are productive and make the people around us happy. We do it in different ways, and there's no communication in between. So there are people in our lives, in my life at least, who are actively trying to create that change and show people that it is possible to have open dialogue. It is possible to create a better tomorrow than what we see today. So I took it upon myself to start the Beautiful Mind, and by using blogs. So I'd write about people in my life, or events that have happened to me that were, I won't say life changing, but got me thinking, or at least fit the bill or what the site's supposed to be. The very first blog. This all started with my mama, because it all starts with mom. My very first blog was called "My Hero Wears No Cape," and it goes back to my mother's decision to leave my home country of Guyana and take my brother and I here, and how we kind of started over, with the help of family, but it was a huge sacrifice for her to take that leap, to make that change, and to bring her boys into this crazy new world that even she knew that, anything can happen, and we didn't know what to expect. Shortly after, we moved on to podcasting. Well, I decided to get into podcasting because I listen to a lot of podcasts. Embarrassingly, unfortunately, I forgot to turn on the microphone for my guest, and very first podcast sucked. You got one person on the podcast, and you can only hear the guest, but you couldn't hear me, which is great for a lot of people. My voice sounds amazingly stupid, but halfway through the podcast, I'm realizing that, oh my God, my guest is talking by himself and nobody can hear the questions. So lesson learned. Figured it out and moved forward. And since then, been measuring twice and cutting once in every single aspect that we've implemented so far, which is why towards the end of 2017, when I realized that I was making some missteps in terms of the identity of the site. For instance, one lesson I've learned in 2017 was this is not a diary. Things happen throughout your day-to-day lives that impact the way you think and how you feel, but those things may not always agree or identify with the platform that which you're using to voice your concerns and voice your thoughts. don't use that platform for that. And I was guilty of it. Some contributors were guilty of it, but it's fine because we're all learning. And the reason being that that was allowed to happen was because I didn't stay on topic. I, as the creator of a platform that would do these great, amazing things, lost sight of the very initiative that which I wanted to implement. And with that happening, we kind of got off track a little bit, and I realized that even though the content was great, it wasn't necessarily what I was looking for, what I'd initially set out to do. And one such time, I wrote a blog once where a friend of mine. This is why you got to keep you have to keep people in your life, even if they don't necessarily agree with you, and you always have to be humble and open to other people's ideas and thoughts and emotions. And obviously, take it with a grain of salt, but always be looking for an outsider's input, because at the end of the day, you're looking to actually get people to see where you're coming from. So one question came up, and the question was, what does this one particular blog have to do with the entire site? And I forgot what blog it was, but I had written a blog, and it was one of those like personal reflective pieces. And a colleague of mine was like, "Oh man, the piece was great." She goes, "I was just wondering, like, what does this have to do with anything that you told me about? Like, you told me about that this is what the site is about, and then you wrote a blog that's completely different." It was humbling. It was humbling to me, to have such an innocent question about, hey, what the hell? It's an innocent question, and I had no answer for it, and it really made me think. And this is midway through 2017, and then I kind of move forward. If anyone's tracking my progress, that was when things started to slow down a little bit, because now I'm looking to trim the fat and trying to figure out what in the world am I trying to say, really. And that's ultimately culminated in the end of 2017, where I'm like, yeah, like I want to start anew, and we're gonna hit these topics from a different angle. That being said, we had amazing guests in 2017. From the initial podcast guest, Brandon Shaw. I'm sorry that no one heard my questions to you, but your answers were phenomenal. To Purposely Pretty, which is a Queens-based nonprofit organization for African American and minority women who are looking to make the world a better place by giving younger generations the tools and the resources, whether it be physical or whether it be just sitting there and listening to them. And these tools and resources were things that they didn't have, and they were put in positions where they had to figure it out without. And they're looking to give back and make sure that these girls don't have to go through the same thing that they did. Ataria NYC, which is a culturally inspired clothing organization, whose CEO, Chinasa Wakacha, is one of the most amazing people I've ever met in my life. Chinasa is 22 years old, and has already founded a at least in my circle, well recognized and revered clothing company that is tackling cultural divides head on, and is looking to bridge that gap between cultures. And more than ever before in today's day and age, that is so important, because culture is becoming a taboo word now, because it's divisive now. And I'm really impressed by that, and it made me even want to be even better, especially when she starts talking about, now I'm looking, like she told me this, she goes, now I'm looking to give back. And I'm like, you already are. She goes, no. Now I'm actually going to put on events or programs that are geared towards minority people, trying to bring them into my mindset, bring them into the mindset of a successful person. Didn't have to do that. And at 22 years old, I have no words for it, which is kind of ironic because I have a podcast, but I have no words for it. The Cannabis Cultural Association, which is, listen, I've never smoked weed a day in my life. I've never used cannabis or any of its products byproducts a day in my life. But the idea that there is a natural herb out there that's illegal, that has no known deficiencies or ailments to, not ailments, but you know what I mean, no negative connotations to it in terms of your biological reaction. And it's banned. It's a taboo product, but alcohol is rampant around advertising, around sporting events, around life. Like, and so many people die every year from alcohol. But that's the one. That's the one drug that we're going to go with. Alcohol is a drug. It's an addictive substance, and we're going to go ahead and give that the time of day. But we're never going to look at cannabis as a viable product. I found that to be ridiculous. So I wanted to speak with these guys, and they were amazing. And throughout the year, to stay in contact with them, especially now in their lawsuit against Attorney General Jeff Sessions. These are amazing people: Nelson Guerrero, Jake Plowden, and a few of their teammates that I met and spoke with, and had very good conversations about life in general. And then definitely not finally, but this one individual, Ash Cash was from Harlem. Guys as he told me, like, he's like, yeah, I'm from the streets, like I'm from that neighborhood. I was never in the streets, but I'm from it, and should never have been where he's at today. Listening to his story, having him tell me that he's seen things that he can never really repeat, and and then he was kind of like given the opportunity to see what life can possibly be if you know how to manage your finances correctly, and seeing that the opportunities are all around us, and then taking it upon himself to be like, hey, I now have a duty to pass along this mindset to others. I have a duty to now let everyone else know that this is what it is that I'm doing. This is what it is that you're doing that's wrong. That I can tell you what to do to make it better, to make your dollar go further, to make you not spend, that fee or whatever. Like, to allow you to be able to have money work for you, as opposed to living day to day, getting up every day and going to work for money. And it's a concept that in quite frankly, in my community, that we haven't grasped just yet. Money is a mythical object that we try to achieve more and more of, as opposed to a tool that can be used to create change. And totally selfless act on the part of Ash Cash, and might have been one of the most energetic people I've met in my entire life, and also one of those beautiful stories. And I say that to say, one of the lessons I've learned in 2017 was, while I was making all of these mistakes, there were still people who believed in the platform organically. Whether or not I was making mistakes in how I was going about doing things or how I was planning out things, it was definitely a shot in the arm in terms of confidence when people are coming to me naturally, organically, and saying, hey, this is a great platform, let's work together. And people like Ash Cash and Diamond Craig and Chanasa Wakacha and Nelson Guerrero, those people, even Brandon Carmouche from ESPA. Those were all natural conversations, just happened because, hey, by the way, this looks really awesome and I want to identify with this. So it's there. And that was even much more of a reason as to why I decided to just take a step back for a second and really think what we're trying to do here. And this wouldn't have been possible at all. Like the confidence or the self-awareness to realize the value of what we have here, if it wasn't for contributors organically, naturally stepping forward and saying, hey, like, I want to be a part of this. And I've gotten amazing contributors along the way, and people who are in my corner to bounce ideas off of. Dominic Panton, who gave us the identity to via logo. I mean, the logo is not something that you think of too often, because it's more of a subliminal identity. But if you think about the Beautiful Minds, I'm pretty sure if you've seen us before, you the first thing you're going to think of is the logo. And to do that, just because the idea once again came off to be so beautiful in her mind, and hey, here's the logo. This is what I came up with, and giving me now a face the world can now see. It was amazing. Then it slowly trickled onto my brother, and then writers like Asher Vongtao, like Sunita Bilal, started to come on and really lend their perspectives, really lend their own ideas on how we can go about making this thing really work, but from their own angle, because this is supposed to be. I wanted it to be a blending pot of ideas, all geared towards one overall overarching topic, and that's how 2017 began to unfold. Different ideas coming into one place and gearing towards one topic, one overarching goal. I mean, and then I decided it's time to get bigger, right? It was time to get bigger and get more people involved, and tried a little video here and there, but let's be real, I'm not a videographer at all. So that's why I got my man Stanley over here. And this is why you don't ever ask Black people to do anything and time based. We both said we will be here for 10 o'clock. We both got here at 11 o'clock today. So, and it's another organic conversation that happened as well. So, now coming to you for 2018, we have video. We have video for all of our podcasts. Well, hopefully, schedule permitting. And it's something that I've always wanted to do and I've dabbled in before. And I never really liked the fact that it was only going to be from one angle, and it's only going to be from my iPhone, and possibly so up close that we weren't going to be able to have both me and the guest in the same frame. So hopefully now moving forward, we can add those to it. Even Greg Carrington as well, who's the subject of the very first video segment that I've ever done on this site. And if you look at that video, I used my cell phone. I didn't even have a camera stand. My hands are jittering all over the place. You can barely see Greg. You can barely even hear me asking the questions because I'm so nervous. And now we're here where we're trying to make production videos. This is it's really coming together, and I'm proud of how far we've made it in such a short amount of time. So now here's 2018 in a nutshell. I didn't like that I would have a conversation with somebody based on one topic, leave the topic, and move on to another topic next week. So now every month moving forward, now we are going to be based on topics rather than just people. So what is the topic behind the person? What's the theme behind this person? So for instance, February is Black History Month. February is Black History Month. That's the time of the year where we celebrate Black culture, Black history, Black artists, expression, thought processes, politics affecting the Black community. Everything this month will be geared towards that. Podcasts will be geared towards different aspects of Black identity, different aspects of the Black Millennial. The following month is Women's History Month. Everything's gonna be geared towards women's rights, women's perspectives from different angles. The following month is going to be I don't know what April is, but that's the point. Now we're going to entrench ourselves as much as possible in every single topic that we can think of on a monthly basis, and trying not to leave any stone unturned, but it allows us now to not just leave a topic. Now I would like to have the Beautiful Minds be more active in the lives and the perspectives of a lot of topics, So we'll see. It's a shot in the dark in some way, but I really do feel as if now the purpose is a lot stronger. It's no longer just an idea, and it's no longer just a bunch of people sitting down talking. Now we actually have a purpose behind what we're doing. We're lending different lenses to, or stronger lens to conversations and topics. So, and also now we're taking part as well. I have 3 events I'd like to put on this year, but I will get into that later. But now I would like to actually organize things and use this platform to show that we can be active as well in bringing people together. I don't know when it'll happen just yet, but it will happen very soon. I have a meeting in about an hour about one of those events. So It's coming together. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. So, it's a year ago today. I think is when I published my first. Yeah, it was a year ago today. So, to be told, honestly, I wanted to make this episode. I wanted to make this like an actual conference today, but you can't just plan a conference in a month and a half. So, that would have been hilarious. So, it's a podcast, it's a solo podcast. This is how everyone, or at least I hope a lot of you, were introduced to the Beautiful Minds, was just hearing me on a solo podcast by myself, trying to explain to the world what the hell just happened on Friday, which is that's the name of the podcast. What the hell happened on Friday? And that was when the microphone cut out on me while interviewing my very first guest. And now it's pretty much what the hell happened in 2017. And that was when we kind of set effort. We'll just do it. We'll do it. We'll figure it out as we go. And people saw us make mistakes and figure out how to make the right decisions. And spent the last month while we were shut down, reading, writing, doing a bunch of planning activities, trying to figure out just what it is, how I can make sure that our topics and our conversations and our content and our ideas get to the right people and get there fast and get there in the most effective way. So I'll look out for more content, look out for more people, look out for more perspectives, and look out for a stronger platform, more geared towards topics from different angles, as opposed to just letting you know that this person is amazing. Now we are going to bring you into the lives of that person, lives of those people, bring you into those mindsets and those perspectives from different angles. So thank you everyone who stuck with us throughout this hiatus. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure to be here. So it's been a great journey. And I love that organically these things are coming together. So thank you to Stanley for making this the video happen, because I was gonna do it. And before I go, I'm gonna put this out there. I just got a text from Brittany Davidson saying to shout her out because she just started her own. She started her own company. Brittany Davidson, if anyone doesn't know, is my co-host for the Millennial Perspective, which is a monthly edition of the Beautiful Minds podcast, where we sit down and talk about the month's in retrospect, biggest topics, pop culture, politics, what have you. She started her own event planning company called Events by Brittany D, and I'm proud of her. She didn't, really went out on a limb. She's always been planning events for as long as I've known her, and she's finally decided to, hey, I'm going to make it my own identity now, and actually give it its own name, and watch it go out into the world. So I know how nerve wracking it is to see your baby go out there into the world. So hopefully now she can get off my back about me shouting her out. So thank you so much. This is I don't even know what number episode this is going to be, because it's not really an episode. It's not like an update. So thank you everyone for tuning in, and until next time.